What's up, guys? Right now I'm gonna install a new motor mount. It's a Kinetic Solutions motor mount on my 2009 Dyna Super Glide. And as you can see here, the stock one, I don't know how well you can see that, but it is not doing so well. So it's time to take it out. So the first step is gonna be getting a jack under this thing. So we're gonna get a jack under this and stand this thing upright right now. Get it done. All right, so the first step that we wanna do is we wanna loosen these top bolts here. As you can see, we got our jack under here just to support the weight once we take this off of the motor. And then just make sure your jack's only on the motor. And we just put blocks under the frame to keep it you know, safe and straight. But you probably, if you could, would want to use a an actual like motorcycle stand or jack or one of those wheel chocks to hold it in place. That'd probably be best, but we don't have that. So first thing you're gonna do is get your 9/16 wrench on this side and your 9/16 ratchet on this side, and just get these loose. So once you loosen them, it might be a little fight around some of these wires, but you just want to get this bolt out. All right, so we got the second one loose, but now all the weight's still on it, so we're just gonna jack up the motor a little bit to get the weight off of it and be able to pull it out. All right, so we just lowered it back down just a tiny bit so that it's sitting on the block, but we got those out, and now we're just gonna use our 5/16 Allen. It's a little dirty in there, so I'm just gonna tap it in, make sure we don't strip nothing. And we're gonna loosen these two final bolts. And then after that, this whole motor mount should be able to get pulled out. So let's get to it. Just make sure that you're keeping your washer pattern, like on here, it's a regular washer and then a lock washer. So just make sure you keep everything the way it goes. As you guys could see, this thing was in serious need of help. That is our old one. You can see all the rubber kind of melting, giving away. And here's our new one. So yeah, pretty much same process backwards, putting this one in. We're gonna slide it in there, get these two bottom bolts in. We're gonna use red Loctite on those. And then we're gonna get these two top bolts in and just might have to lift the motor a little bit with the jack to get the top holes to line up, but let's get to it. All right, so first we're gonna put in these front bolts. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of red Loctite on there, just a little dab, like so. And then all we're gonna do is slide this up in here, and we use the jack to just help us push it up. As you can see, it's not lined up fully side to side. I could just use my hand. In some case, you might need to use a like a pry bar or something to get it sideways. Pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this all the way up in there, and then I'm gonna push this enough that I could get my bolt in there and just get the thread started on it. Yeah, there we go. So for right now, I'm just gonna leave everything as loose as I can, because that's gonna make it a lot easier later. So I'm gonna get Loctite on the next one, line that one up, do the same thing. once again, leaving that one loose. Now we're gonna get onto these top bolts. You're probably gonna have to use your jack. You can see ours is a little high, so we're gonna have to use it to drop it a little bit and get these bolts in. So that's what we're gonna do now. So that was a little bit of a pain. So we turned off the camera, but pretty much for this front one, because this is in the way, we just let these loose. You could even leave these out and do that after, but we were able to do it with the loose, and then we just got some leverage on this and just pulled it that way so that we could slide this bolt in. But once we get it in, you're just gonna slide it through, and then the top one should be a lot easier. Still might have to do some stuff to line it up. Like we're gonna have to drop this jack a little bit, but should be a lot easier to just, should be a lot easier to just get in there. So get those in there, you know, get your red Loctite, drop them on the ends of these bolts. That was a little bit too much. And tighten your nuts up. And then you could, you know, check your torque specs, but I just use good and tight. All right, now we're gonna start it up, see how it is. I have the rear mount too, but I might not want to do it. I've heard that it could get a little bit gnarly on the vibrations when you do both. So I'm gonna start it up and just give it a little test with just the front, and then we'll go from there and see how I like it, see if I want to do the rear too. So that doesn't look too bad. The vibration wasn't crazy. Definitely had more vibration, but nothing that I'm afraid of. So I do think I'm gonna put on the rear. I'm just gonna take it for a quick ride and just make sure that it doesn't feel different while I'm on the road. Alrighty guys, it's Memorial Day. It's getting a little late. I got a couple things to do. I just washed this baby and got her nice and ready to go. I just ordered a new rear tire for this thing. Probably can't see because there's a bunch of dirt on there, but that is metal wire. So got a new Shinko 999. I'm gonna switch it up instead of 777, but I'm gonna get some things done, and I'll get back to hopping on these motor mounts tomorrow. I'll throw on the rear, so I'll see you then. So we're gonna do the rear motor mount now. Smoked my rear tire, so thankfully for me, I gotta change it, and it gives me the rear tire being off, and therefore a little bit easier to get to the mount. So the first thing we're gonna do is pull. There's 2 bolts in there. I'll get a light in there to show you. But I like the front one a lot, so we're gonna put the back one in too and see if it doesn't make it to have too many vibrations or anything. But let's get her done. See how she feels. Those are the 2 bolts right there. So that's a 5/16 Allen, and the only other thing you're gonna need other than that is probably a short, or I think definitely it has to be a short 9/16 a ratchet, and then a wrench. All right, here's the new one. We're gonna take those 2 bolts out first, and then we'll try to show you the other bolts. They're pretty hard to see, and go from there. Also, don't forget, we're about to do it though, but put a jack under the pan, because that motor ain't gonna be supported. Shit'll fall out. That transmission will fall out. Be smart. As you can see, got that thing on the pan, ready to go. Hell yeah.
Success.
All right, so now that we got those out, we got to get those 2 bolts out. Let me put a little bit of light on it. So those are 9/16. See those 2? And it's just a nut and then a bolt on the other side.
what is going on over there? So I'm gonna grab a wrench. He's gonna grab a ratchet, and we're gonna take this fucker off. By the way, we just figured out if you put a ratchet with a long socket, 9/16, 3-inch extension.
Yeah, 2 3/4.
3/8 drive ratchet, and you get it in there, you could actually get that side from the outside, and then you could just stick a wrench right through there. Hopefully you could see that. There's a little gap there. So yeah, try that out.
There we go.
Cool. Once you pull both the bolts out, should be able to just drop it out the bottom. There she is. This one actually don't look too bad compared to the other one. Definitely still needs to be replaced. So, let's do it. You get the new mount. And pretty much, you just make sure these 2 rear bolts go towards the rear. You slide it in right here. And you just gotta get it around where it mounts to the tranny right there. You just get it in place, and you can just slide the bolts in. Tighten it up the same way you took it off. This time when you tighten it up on these, make sure to use some red thread locker.
Go down a little.
Same on the other 2 when you put them in. Alrighty guys, so the ones that are up in there are all tight. So now we're just gonna use the jack and kind of use it to go up and down to line up those holes, and put these last 2 bolts on. But first, I'm gonna throw some red Loctite on. Then we should be all done. Alrighty guys, that is how you install the Kinetic Structures Dyna motor mount. But I'll show a little clip, or I'll show a little clip after this, after I ride with it on. Obviously I cannot, I don't have a rear tire, but it's getting mounted tomorrow, so we'll get it handled. What's up guys? So I've done a lot of riding on this thing now. I didn't really want to give my 2 cents on it until I did some riding. So I've done a couple 2-hour trips. I've done a couple 1-hour trips. Done a couple 4-hour trips on it now. I say trips, but I just mean rides. And so far so good. I really like it. I think it's a lot better than stock for me. I think that something to be weary of it, if you're looking for more of a comfortable ride, in the sense of you don't want the stiffness, the feedback, as much as you just want a plush, just super cushiony feeling. If you're just going for that and just doing freeway miles pretty much, then it might not be for you. But me personally, I like to go fast sometimes, and I think that they feel great. They don't bother me really when you're actually up to speed. I don't think the vibrations are super annoying. I think even when I'm stopped, they don't really annoy me. And just the performance gain, feel wise really. So just going through a corner, I guess you feel so much more, you don't feel as loose, I guess. If you ever in a Dyna, you know, they feel kind of loose when you first get them. And I think doing that made it really tighten up and just feel planted. So I like it a lot. I highly suggest it, but so far so good. And if anything ever were to change, I'll put that in the comments, but I don't see that happening. They seem pretty solid, and I really like them. So yeah, thank you guys, and have an excellent day.